there's a lot of things happening in the industry, in the communities that aren't really being talked about. Distractions, let's just say. And those distractions can come from any place.
Electronic dance music, or EDM, has seen a huge rise in popularity over the last few years. Rise in EDM around the world, but particularly on the American charts, is seen as a key driver in the resurgence of the industry.
To get to the point where you're making money off your music, it's very hard. And therefore, it creates kind of this demand in the market where you need a big agency or a distributor to push your music, but then they're taking a huge cut.
Festivals are becoming more and more pervasive for the reasons that Walter highlighted, right? It's much more profitable than streaming music.
Hear That Music and Co-Cultivate had one goal with this documentary: understand EDM. It's a misunderstood genre with an even more misunderstood business side that's currently valuated at $11.3 billion. But like most forms of music, still has trouble paying its artists. We traveled to Dover, Delaware to meet our friend and DJ, James Dietrichson, also known as Detox, who's performing at the annual Afterfly Festival. Both his and the festival's mission is to change the current situation for artists. The day starts at 4 a.m. with a silent disco. James and the organizers have met many obstacles, but most movements don't face a multi-billion-dollar music industry that leverages everything it can. To corporations, EDM is about the experience rather than the music, so tickets are getting more expensive and the profits are going toward experiences and big artists rather than the music itself.
Here's the deal. Over the past decade, two companies, Live Nation and AEG Live, have become a dominant force in the festival market. They've been pushing prices up and buying smaller festivals out. Now they own close to a third of the British market alone. Live Nation's net worth in 2019 was estimated at $15.6 billion. And they're scaling their business models, turning the likes of the Lollapalooza Festival into a franchise and exporting it to countries across the globe.
For talent, do you have to pay the performers even more? I mean, do your cost inputs go up as you see more and more of these occurring?
Tiesto, DJ.
Right.
Guy gets paid like,
yeah.
How much does he get paid
Glad
to
you're
do a
here.
show now? I mean, tons of money, right?
He gets a lot of money. He gets paid well. He deserves it, though. He's drawing in the big
But that's what I'm
crowds.
saying.
People are willing to spend thousands of dollars on luxury accommodation like this one. The most expensive one, well, that'll set you back $23,000 US, and that's just for 4 nights. Day Festival is estimated to bring in close to $100 million to the Belgian economy, with most international flights sold out for days on either end.
So how would the community feel if the EDM genre got a lot more commercialized and changed to more like mainstream type of thing?
So, well, you do see it happening. You see some of these companies that are really big, and in a way, the only way they can really get control over these, situations and allow them to flourish, I feel like is kind of working and commercializing to some aspect.
EDM is the 4th most played genre in music. EDM is expected to reach a valuation of $20.9 billion by 2033. Music events are expected to reach $30.14 billion in 2023, with EDM festivals said to be the most popular of all event types.
Come on, Lucy, girl. Come on, Lucy. Lucy, come on. Come on, baby, let's go. Come on.
But I also feel like by doing that, it creates more awareness around our community, which allows people to go, be involved more, which will create more of smaller niches around that more corporate commercialized So I see it as a good thing, but also I could see it as a negative thing because it's going to be a little transition to allow new people to come into the scene and start their own things, which would then become like the underground and the more localized, stronger community. But I mean, for everyone, I think everyone should grow as big as they can. And if that means working with bigger companies and getting your stuff more down pat to give people better experiences, I don't see it as a necessarily bad thing. But yeah, you always got to be careful about who you work with, especially when you have a business or something you're passionate about. You always want it to be, the right thing. It's because it's your passion. You always want it to be as best as it can be. So there's pros and cons and everything, but I don't see it as necessarily a bad thing. It's very hard, and therefore it creates kind of this demand in the market where you need a big agency or a distributor to push your music, but then they're taking a huge cut. So in order to get that publicity, which gets you that money, you're going to have to work with people that are very established already, or work 15, 20 years in creating your own network, but that takes time, So it kind of creates this demand that it's hard because, again, when it's your art, you want to work with people that are passionate about what you're doing as well. And if they're not, and they're just money orientated, they kind of see you as a product and they don't really care about your vision. And therefore, again, they don't mind to take your money and push you off to the next, So that's a huge issue because there's not that many ways for people to make money. And that's why shows are a huge thing. But then again, to get yourself to a point where, you have the original content, you have the connection and networks, you're getting booked consistently enough so you can make a living, give yourself another, 10 years. You know what I mean? Like, it takes time to get to that point, unless you're in the right situation, right time type thing, which happens, but it's not for the everyday person. It's not going to happen for everyone. So yeah, like those streaming platforms, like I've made barely any money off of my music. You know what I mean? When it comes to like distributing and streaming and all that stuff. I really make money off of live shows, like I said.
The big EDM shows are, although they might not be to everyone's taste, they're an entry point into dance music. There's a dripping down effect in terms of there's a lot more people now discovering new types of music. So although EDM might be a driving force behind a lot of money and a lot of people, it does mean that there's just as healthy an underground that's growing at the same time.
This is the first time that America has actually experienced electronic music for real.
Yeah.
Like on a massive level. This is the first time that finally DJing is taken seriously.
Yeah.
Even though some of it might seem like a joke.
Yeah.
On an overall level, we have people's eyes and ears. What really is happening is like, the sounds that jump out the most open the doors, but then there's definitely other stuff that's following suit. And I'm seeing, 20-year-olds getting interested in like techno or house or this and that in North America, which that never existed before. So that's cool.
It's put us on the map. Before we were just some raver kids in a dark club, getting high off ecstasy. Now look at it. Look at what it's turned into. It's taken over.
America's completely changed how the game is working now. Since people like David Guetta and Calvin Harris have been using big pop stars to put onto dance tracks, it's opened up American radio, which until then hasn't really been playing a lot of dance music. It'd be quite a niche thing.
There are positives to big business infiltrating the industry, but to combat the negatives, artists are making sacrifices. Like James, when he gave up his headlining spot at this festival to another group for networking purposes. This is common in all forms of music.
So so the whole Delaware show, again, because I'm not where I want to be, and the situation's happening with my family, my mom, and just kind of being hit with the hammer early on in life, and that kind of putting a dampen on my ability to progress and everything in life. So, because I'm not where I want to be, and because we had a big artist coming through to play, we had to make that decision, and I decided that it would be better to give them the headlining slot for, you know, that one, I can make a connection with them. It shows them that I'm open to working and I see where they are, and I can put myself aside for a minute and let them shine, because one, you know, it gives me a connection with them. Two, I'm already still playing. I've been playing that show for 6 years. And my fan base there is really strong. So I knew it wouldn't have made that much of a difference because I'd be playing right before them. So ultimately, you know, it was hard to make that decision because obviously I want my stuff to be, you know, shine. But at the same time, it was an opportunity that I kind of had to, you know, pick between if it was the best idea or not. And I thought it was the better idea, but it sucked because, you know, I've been working so hard at all of this. I want to be up there. I want to be the spotlight. But again, I can't play an ego game in this. I have to play smart. And I had to make that decision to let them kind of, you know, they had the higher billing genuinely on normal shows. They have more people. There are 3 people in the group. They have a bigger, you know, management. They have more followers. So it's just logical, but at the same time, it stinks that kind of has to be that political. But that's just kind of how the game is today, you know?
What needs to change with music and the EDM industry?
So, you know, I don't want to see it as like something needs to change because something's not right. I think a lot of things are going right. And I do see that there's things here and there that should be acknowledged and just talked about so that people can make a better decision about. You know, there's a lot of things happening in the industry, in the communities that aren't really being talked about. And again, not necessarily saying that they're a bad thing. Like, again, there's a great foundation with the music community and we could do a lot and people could do a lot and there's so much potential. But I think people are being cooped up, you know, with technology, their phones, distractions, let's just say. And those distractions can come from any place. You know, that's the whole point of detox as well, is ridding yourself of negativity, whatever that may be. So for some, you know, it could be as simple as a relationship or food or, you know, anyone could have any type of, I don't want to say addiction, but some type of like leniency on a dependency on something that they now identify with. And I think with technology today, a lot of people are being influenced by influencers and by, you know, living a life and not kind of showing the whole picture, but kind of pieces of their life that they want to show. And they're kind of constantly focused on living that in that world constantly without being here and realizing the people around us and the community at these shows is what's going to propel us forward. And it's not necessarily like something on your phone and some image that you have to push that to show the world. No, it's none of that. It's about being involved, being there, being in the scene, and communicating directly with other people, networking so that we can grow. It stems further to like, you know, dealing with kind of the roots of the problem. And that problem kind of stems from because people are alone. People feel disconnected. People feel like they're not being heard. People don't, you know, so they're acting out in ways trying to reach out to the world that shows in a certain light of them. But that doesn't necessarily mean like that's the whole picture. So like I'm just all about creating awareness, creating community, and talking. Just having simple conversations and just talking about what people are going through and how people are experiencing the music, experiencing these shows, how it's helped them grow, what problems they may be facing in life, how to handle those problems. And I just, you know, I just want to make the community even more tighter, you know, and just bring people together more so that we can actually live this lifestyle daily and not have to kind of go back and forth between the two worlds and kind of create that disconnection between our dream life, you know, and the art and living and traveling and being free to like coming back and being cooped up in a time frame schedule, 9 to 5, work, you know, all this stuff. So there's multiple problems that I see in the music industry, but again, I don't see them as problems. I see them as opportunities to grow because we already have such a solid foundation. So if we just communicate those things to each other and we talk from a non-judgmental and non-egotistical and, like willing to learn viewpoint, then we can all just kind of work together. Maybe some people won't be your vibe or your niche, and you'll just move around to another group in the world or more people that you meet and another, and continue to grow. So yeah, that's just a couple, I feel like, issues and problems, and I know we've discussed about the technology and about the phones and about, being distracted, especially at the shows, and not really utilizing those opportunities in the best way and being here in the moment, being present.
I don't know what it was, but the mood in the interview shifted. For the first time, I understood the deep passion he has for his community.
From what I've seen, and which is why I've chosen to, dedicate my life to this community in a sense, because, at the end of the day, they're just people. We're all just people, and we all kind of want the same things. And the community around electronic music just is really about creating the awareness around, all these different things that every day people go through. So just having that spot, those places to kind of be yourself and also be around people that are being themselves while experiencing something you all enjoy, aka the music, the art, then getting to know those artists because they're a part of the community as well. It's kind of a doorway. And from what I've seen is a lot of growth in humanity, in people. I've seen a lot of connections. I've seen a lot of passion. I've seen a lot of love. I've seen a lot of great things come from the community. But at the same time, I've also seen the opposite side of a lot of these people come through, these festivals and these communities and these venues for the music, but ultimately it's for themselves because they're searching for something out in the world that they maybe couldn't have found at home, or they did, because music has always helped them through their journey. And now there's a place for that to be experienced live, and that creates that community. So I've seen both sides to it, the good and the bad, and that's why I just want to be a part of it, to help in both aspects, with whatever anyone needs. And again, creating that community for myself so that I can kind of have more, I don't want to say control, but more influence on how I can help other people and, be a part of the community and not, like I said, I don't want to stand over anyone. I don't want anyone to stand over anyone else. That's not what this is about. It's about if I have the opportunity to give people opportunity, that's a win-win for everyone. And I'm going to try to do that for my community, for the community. And that's what I noticed with people is that they're very open, very generous, very willing to be involved and willing to grow for themselves personally. And also, again, to help the community flourish. So I mean, that's what it's really about, right? That's what life should be about, is just each other helping each other. And especially if you're all passionate towards the same things. It's kind of just
Community is the backbone of movements. People in the music industry are fed up and starting to fight back. The main opposition is copywriting and the major streaming platforms.
But now, like I was saying, we have this new technology that basically allows podcasting and if you're streaming on Twitch, let's just say, or something like that, we have this technology that allows normally you can't play other people's music because of copyright issues, and then you got to pay them. So if you want to play someone's song and it's copyright, you have to pay them to play, or you have to have a deal. You know what I mean? Now, as long as you're within this one platform, essentially anyone can play your music on a podcast or a streaming service, and if anyone likes your music, they they could donate to you and tip you, and then they could also attach a message to it, so that they basically, if I'm sleeping and so-and-so played my music on their podcast, and at 23 minutes in my song was played, and at 23 minutes and 30 seconds someone donated 100 Satoshis, which is pieces of Bitcoin. That automatically gets distributed from their account into my Lightning wallet, into my account while I'm sleeping. I had no clue, and I get paid immediately. So now we have that technology, so now I'm able to bring artists in, get their music on the platform, and now I can basically have a podcast and showcase all my friends' music while they're sleeping or working or whatever, and then they can get paid directly. So we're working on things to do that. But yeah, right now where the industry is, it's horrible. You know, it's people are making money, but it's not the everyday. It's not the musicians. It's not the artists as much as, you know, these agencies and distributors and whatnot, who are basically kind of controlling the music that they're not making. They're not doing. They have the platforms, so they have control.
We got to speak to Gatsby, the organizer and owner of the festival and the space.
I mean, what it means to me personally, you know, it goes back to, I remember my first EDM show. It was 2011, All Good Music Festival, Marvin's Mountaintop in West Virginia, Morgantown, West Virginia. And I went through every emotion a person could go through that weekend, the highs and lows, happy, sad. You know, we witnessed, unfortunately, someone passed away that weekend, and which brought the community together even tighter. And I witnessed that weekend personally the love that this community has for each other. And being, you know, growing up in hip hop, I didn't feel like the hip hop community had that same type of feeling. So I stopped listening to a lot, not stopped listening to, but I welcomed EDM into my life a lot more than hip hop. You know, started going to shows and traveling to music festivals to catch that, you know, that one artist that you know just changes you. And you know, that's what my friend Detox, that's what Detox is to me. He's that guy, you know, he's that artist. EDM is the Duolingo, it is the translation of all music, of all, you know, you can put jazz, you can put bass, you can put funk, you can put hip hop, you can put country, you can put everything in the EDM, mix it in the pot, and the stew that comes out is delicious for everybody, you know, and that, I think, is why it's the key to the universal language. It's like the center. If music is a universal language, EDM is the chosen language that, you know, of that, because if everyone speaks that, they will all get it. You know what I mean? You have country people listen to country. They don't get rap. You know, rap people don't get country. Both of them don't get EDM, but if a country person listens to EDM with a little country thrown in it, they'd love it. If a rap person who don't really like EDM, if you throw one of their favorite rap, you know, bars in it and the drop, they'll love that song. And then and that's what happened to me. You know, all it took was for Pretty Lights to drop West Virginia, Country Roads, Take Me Home, and we were in West Virginia at a music festival. I lost my mind. You know what I mean? I was like, this shit is cool. And it wasn't hip hop, it wasn't rap. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what, like, I actually had to ask my friends, like, yo, what is this? You know what I mean? All of a sudden, I hear a news article saying they were going to open a music festival in my hometown, Dover, Delaware. So I was like, this could be interesting. I thought it was going to be like county fair, you know, couple acts, but it ended up turning out to be a legit production. And I was excited, of course, because, you know, my town doesn't really have much activities. And so for them to bring something like that was a sign of the times. It shows that the world is changing, and it was a beautiful thing for me. So EDM to me was like, wow, like it came to Delaware, you know, you would never think that. And the festival did really well. You know, it had 100,000 people at their peak. And I mean, they brought acts like Paul McCartney, you know, Eminem, Black Keys, you know, just a lot of who's that are in, you know, today's headlining spotlights. And all of my friends being avid festival goers, we started just, you know, camping in my backyard. It started out as something just like, you know, when the festival comes in town, well, instead of paying all the money to go over there and camp, we'll just camp out in the backyard. And one friend told another friend told another friend, and eventually, you know, it became big enough to where the county got involved and, you know, told me that I had to do planning and get permitting. And so once I had to go kind of formal with the thing, you know, I had to get a business, a LLC behind it and everything, and it opened up my doors to the campers of the festival and allowed them to come and camp here for the weekend if they were going to the festival, to give them more of a safe environment, a more controlled environment, because, you know, when you're in a field with 100,000 people, anything can go wrong, you know, logistically. So here we just, as seasoned festival goers, we know the ropes a little more. We know what to look out for, you know, if someone's dehydrated or if they've taken something they shouldn't have and, you know, are on the verge of overdosing. You know, we have all the proper equipment to help these people as they come back from the festival, where we've been at festivals and watched people dehydrate, you know, heat exhaustion, fall out, drugs could be involved, and they took something and fell out and no one really knows what to do. And so we like to pride ourselves in making sure that we have a safe environment. My goal, my purpose with Afterfly is to create a place where we can all gather together and expand upon all of our creativity. This thing is more artist heavy than it is attendee heavy. You know, I like to stack the lineups and make sure that when the artists come here, they feel safe and secure enough. I mean, you see we have the studio in here, and artists come in here, they think that they're coming to play a show, but they might run into one of their favorite artists and they end up collabing. And, you know, that's magic. That's where I get my satisfaction, you know, when I see two artists that have played on my lineup collabing, and now they're putting out music that otherwise may not have existed. You know what I mean? That's the beauty of it to me. That's where the magic happens, and watching how the music changed people's lives. I mean, like James, he's Detox. He was I met him online. I saw him applying for another festival. I think may have been Facebook. You know, he was messaged them and left a comment asking if he could play on their lineup. And I think it was my first year of Afterfly, and I messaged him, was like, hey, if they don't let you come play, you can come play on my lineup. He was like, I'm there. And just like that, no questions. So he came through, rocked it. You know, I think he was 16 then. Really? Yeah, he was young, man. He was a baby. Still looks 16 now, but he was a baby. And he came and rocked it, man. And he's shown that same love every year. He hasn't missed a beat, man. And so we've taken this journey together. You know what I mean? I'm a little bit older than he is. I'm probably a lot older, but you know, we've definitely taken this journey together. And that kid's taught me a lot. You know, and I've watched him grow and mature a lot. And I appreciate him through this entire journey, like as a person. You know, watching him mature, and to me, it's just one of those, another one of those things where, you know, when you ask what is EDM to me, EDM is something like I would have never met that kid had I not went to a festival and been able to appreciate it for what it is. You know, if that first music festival didn't hit me in the heart like it did, it would have just been another show or another concert. And to me, this is more than just a show, more than just a concert. You know, it's a community. I've met lifelong friends that I know will be in my life forever. And, you know, the friends that I thought were going to be my friends growing up, I'll probably never see them again. But I know I've met people on this journey that if I need them, they're there for me, and vice versa, you know.
I definitely feel that. I'm excited for that whole project to come out. That sounds dope.
You can see that I'm very passionate about all of this. You know, I love my community. I love creating community. I love creating new experiences for people so that they are inspired to then know that they could do it too. And that's my whole thing with, like, you know, this platform that I'm trying to create as well. That's called #IMadeIt. So like that is a whole thing within itself that's going to be really, really cool. And it's about just self-empowerment and, again, community and going out into the world. And I always say, if you won't fight to get to the starting line, you will never fight to get to the finish line. So #IMadeIt is kind of the starting line. You know, we've worked so hard to get to this point. Now we're here. Let's go. You know, let's get to the next. And as together, as a community this time, you know, we worked so hard individually to get ourselves to where we are. You know, individually. Now it's time to come together as a community and push forward.
With changes in technology and an optimistic group of artists, EDM has a bright future. James and Gatsby have the same goal as us, cultivate community, and that's why we're so happy they reached out to us for this project. They founded their communities in difficult times and tried healing through EDM and found success. So below I've left James's links and one to the Afterfly Festival. They didn't ask me to promote their projects, they just asked me to ask our viewers to try EDM. It's that simple. While they didn't ask, I will say that I never experienced community like the one at the Afterfly Festival. It is a tight-knit community and it was a true brotherhood and sisterhood, and I look forward to going back in the future. So thanks to Gatsby for putting on a hell of a festival. But our mission doesn't stop here. Join us next time on our next adventure to cultivate community with Hear That Music and Co-Cultivate.